Well, the spring game is in the books. Tim May, the 97.1 The Fan expert that they use so much, and of course the Tim May Show, his podcast, Adam King. And
how are you so dry?
Yeah.
Because it's a monsoon out there, and I don't stand in the rain like you.
But that's
The suit was a different color before.
Yeah. All right. What did you guys see in the spring game? What jumped out to you?
I liked how it didn't rain through the first half, and then it rained on the band, and then it quit raining in the second half, and they got most of their quality football in. Number two, Tavian St. Clair, I think, had to have a pretty good day today to kind of quell some of the maybe inconsistencies he had during the spring. Of course, Ryan Day didn't anoint him after the game was over, but the bottom line is he had a pretty good day. Brock Boyd, big-time catch. We've been talking about him all year. But those two freshman wide receivers, Brock Boyd and Chris Henry, both had decent days. So that's what jumped out at me offensively.
To me, what jumped out to me, Adam, and I just want your take, is obviously it's a mishmash out there, and it's hard to see. At the end of the day, Julian Sayin, and I know they want to create controversy. Julian Sayin is the starter, and let's just put that to bed.
Yeah, I mean, if you are watching this thinking that there's a debate or a QB competition coming, there's not. I mean, we have seen a lot of Tavian St. Clair throughout the spring. He's looked good. He looked good in the spring game, but he also still has a lot of growing up to do. Julian Sayin is 100% the guy. That should not be a discussion in anyone's regard. I do want to say I was most impressed with the defensive line today. I thought, obviously, it's a makeshift offensive line with some injuries out there, but the defensive line looked really, really solid. Gave a lot of bright spots out there. And you think about last year's defensive line, that was the biggest question mark coming out of the spring. I think it might be one of the strengths of this team as we head out of the spring. We didn't get to see completely the full Kenyatta Jackson experience or Quay Rousseau really get everything we want to see out there, but in a tiny glimpse of the spring game, I thought they looked good. I was also more so just surprised at how much they played some of the bigger stars throughout the game. They didn't hold back as much as I thought they would.
You know, following up on that, we talk about Julian Sayin. We had said, Tim, coming into this, that Julian was going to have to run. Not all the time, but at times we saw him run for a touchdown. Now, thank goodness there was not a collision at the end zone, but he ran and scored a touchdown.
I saw him run a touchdown on a naked bootleg on Friday, and I watched the first touchdown today was Julian Sayin around right end and showed athletic ability. Peyton Pierce had him in his sights, but, they're buddies. Let him up. Of course, he was wearing the black jersey, but I mean, you've got to change your social media because I haven't seen any debate about Julian Sayin being the starting quarterback here. I mean, what you wanted to see was Tavian St. Clair step up. And Justin Martin, I thought, looks the part to be a decent alternative for this football team as it moves on. But, yeah, I think Julian Sayin had a really good spring. We're not going to know about him really, the improvement, et cetera, he's made until the first half against Texas, second game of the year.
You know, and you're right. It was you must not have seen
debate.
You must not have seen social media in the first half.
It was. Everybody loves the backup quarterback because the backup quarterback isn't under pressure every single game that there is.
And plus, look, I just sacked Dom.
Yeah, well, right. Let me tell you what, it was going crazy in the first half. You should have seen it.
You want to talk about the improvement from Julian Sayin. There was a play with 9 minutes left to go in the second quarter.
Yes.
And do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
And they called it a sack.
Yeah.
But Julian Sayin, they had it's touch rules at the spring game. The offensive line shifted, the pocket moved, and Julian Sayin stepped up and made a great move, a pocket awareness move that I don't know that he makes, especially this time last year. Now, they called it a sack because the guy reached out and touched him. That's not going to be a sack in a real game. And that's the kind of play that I think Ryan Day in this offense is looking for, something to extend it by 2 seconds that could absolutely change the course of the season. Yes, you want to see him run the bootleg for the touchdown, which is great, but those moments, and you didn't get to see it shine in the spring game because they ruled it a sack, but that was very impressive by Sayin that was a big step forward for me.
I think it was a pass to Devin McEwen, too, who caught the ball out in the left flat. I mean, yeah, there's a new guy, we were expecting to see today. We didn't get to see all of the new wrinkles and stuff they're going to throw his way, but there's an interesting guy to keep your eye on, Devin McEwen, this shortish kind of guy, but with the quicks, man, from UT San Antonio. So, yeah, there are all kinds of things you're going to see in the fall you didn't get to see today because of the tap sack.
The other thing is, talking to the offensive guys, Julian Sayin, high praise for what Arthur Smith has done with this offense. From the linemen to the receivers to the quarterback.
It's going to look a little different. I mean, it's still going to be the Ohio State offense, but it's going to look a little different in the fall, and there's no doubt about it, especially when you get their running backs back. I mean, you know, Jacoby Jackson was basically their number one guy today. You had a couple other guys that were making some plays, but yeah, it's going to look so much different with your two starting offensive linemen back in the groove, Austin Saravel and Philip Daniels. So we'll see how that goes.
You know, the other thing, Ryan Day spoke about it at the end of the game. And I've noticed him, and I know you've seen it. We've talked. There's a sense of urgency with this ball club. 51 new players, toughest schedule in America. And he said, we've got to get this team to meld. And he said it's going to be crucial this summer with Coach Mick taking over the summer workouts. These guys, and he's encouraging his guys to, hey, you got to start hanging out. You got to start, you know, because it's got to become a team.
Yeah, that's what, Kenyatta Jackson addressed that in the post game because we were asking him at the beginning of spring, you know, how do all these guys come in like James Smith, John Walker, all these guys, new guys on defense, Quay Russaw, Earl Little Jr. didn't get to play today. He had a scope surgery a couple of days ago and stuff, but he's definitely going to play a big part in the secondary. But, you know, they're learning the Ohio State way of doing things at the beginning now. Kenyatta felt really good about how those guys have basically been melded into the system, et cetera, and are producing. So, yeah, everything's going to be a lot different in the fall than you saw today, for sure.
You know, no question about it. Following up on that, Adam, you know, you think about the importance of Coach Mick and the way he kind of puts this team together. And, yes, he gets them bigger, stronger, and faster, but so much of it is the team building, the bonding, and so much of it is, you know, the mind training because it's not easy what he's doing. And, you know, Ryan even talked about these are uncharted waters. We've never been in this situation with 51 new guys.
Crazy.
And so, you know, they're going to figure it out. But Coach Mick, I feel pretty good about. But his job this summer is going to be crucial.
Well, I'm looking around the locker room here, and I'm looking at Brendan Ennis, and I'm looking at Pierce, and I'm thinking about those guys that are leading this team, and they have been so crucial throughout this process as well. It's not often that you get, you know, you've got Captain Austin Saravel back, Captain Brendan Ennis back. That's two guys that are helping lead the team. Plus, Jeremiah Smith is, you know, I think you have to make him a captain. Julian Sayed, we were talking about this in the offseason earlier. You might have 15 captains on this team, and that's an amazing problem to have with the leadership committee that they put together. It all starts in those winter workouts, and it doesn't end in spring. I just talked to Brandon Ennis, and he said now it's on to summer workouts. That's where you build more of that. That's where you challenge yourself. But just from a physical standpoint, look at a guy like Kenyatta Jackson. He's massive now. I don't know how in the world you go from, you know, being here that long, this is his 4th year, and somehow he's gotten bigger in his last year more than he has in the last 3 years combined.
Yeah, and even like the offensive line, I mean, you know, Luke Montgomery, I mean, Gabe Van Sickle talked about it. I mean, many of these guys are on this kick. Kick is not maybe the right term, but getting slimmer, trimmer, but just as big. I mean, sometimes the light bulb goes off. Sometimes it has to be forced upon you. But this is a team that's different physically than even they left the season. And about Julian Sayed, you know, we in the post-game interview session, he's more assertive when he talks now. I mean, I don't know if y'all agree. He's really stepped out of – in fact, he was in a shell this time a year ago. He's well out of that shell. And there's no debate, I'll reiterate, there's no debate who the number one quarterback is. Yeah. He may be the best quarterback in the country by the middle of the season.
Heisman finalist.
Bingo.
Yeah, he was a Heisman finalist, but you're absolutely
Stay
right.
off social media.
Well, we live on it. Anyways, the bottom line is this. Julian Saying has stepped up. Julian Saying this is his team. He has accepted that role. And we all know that the quarterback is the leader of the team. A year ago, I don't know that we could have said that because he was still new to the scene. Yeah. Not this year. He's assertive, and it is a new Julian Saying. I even said he's bigger. You look at him. He's a bigger guy, and he is the starting quarterback. He is the leader of this team. And, you know, the old saying goes, the quarterback and the head coach could probably get too much credit when they win, but they get all the blame when they lose. But, you know, unfortunately, that's what goes with the position.
I want to publicly apologize to Adam King, too, because on one of our deals a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the spring game, and I said I thought they would take the black jersey off Tavian St. Clair for a while because he hasn't played real football. Can't do it. But, well, they took it off Julian Saying in the middle of spring last year, and we saw him get popped by Riley Pettijohn. Yeah. You know, so I thought they would get a little more into that. And also, I thought they would still try to run the ball a little bit more today than they did, only because you've got all these new working these new young offensive linemen into the mix and stuff. But boy, the dearth of running backs left that as a little bit of a challenge.
Just real quick, we've talked a lot about the offense. The one thing that jumped out to me on the defensive side of the ball, through all of the different passes, Tavian St. Clair threw a lot of good balls, Julian, but I thought that Devin Sanchez was in the right spot a lot today. It only secured to me that this man is going to have the major step forward that we expect for him to have in his sophomore season. You have to feel really confident about where he is. You got to feel confident about where a lot of these guys are. You said Riley Pettijohn. We didn't even get to see him this spring.
Right.
So I think coming out of the spring, I would argue I'm more confident this year than I was last year.
Hey, I saw Riley Pettijohn and Bo Jackson running side by side doing 50-yard sprints yesterday when they weren't on Friday, excuse me, when they weren't able to take part in practice. But you know, they were upper body problems. Both those guys are getting ready, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, last thing, and I'll say it again. Ryan Day, and he kind of what he exemplified the other day when he said that he's not really happy with anything, and that coaches tell him, "Oh, we're doing great." He says, "I don't feel that way." There is a sense of urgency. Once again, he knows the schedule. He has got an edge. I think the guys that were here a year ago have an edge. Final thing, Buckeyes and Notre Dame are the two teams that are now picked to win the national title. Vegas has them as the two favorites.
I didn't know Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
We do this every year.
How do you guys feel about Ohio State right now? And obviously, we still don't know how this team's going to meld in the fall because you got that many new guys. But what do you feel right now?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at a quality depth roster is what I'm looking at. Even Ryan Day said, speaking to the high school coaches on Friday, remember that old Urban Meyer line? You had 10% elite players, 80% guys that were program guys, and 10% you didn't like. Well, he said they've got maybe 5% or fewer of those bottom rung guys. This is a quality roster almost from top to bottom with, like I said, guys you didn't get to see to play in this spring game who are going to play huge roles on Saturday, on this coming Saturdays. So I screwed up my analogy there. But the point is, this is a deep, talented roster, and that's how you win a national championship.
What do you see?
What I see is, I mean, if I had a preseason ranking, I think I'd put the Buckeyes third. I think there's still a lot of questions, but boy, are they getting answered in a hurry. Today,
Who did you put ahead of them now? I mean,
it's, I think you probably put Texas, but I don't know. It's all, mind you, I'm the guy that complains about preseason rankings, and then I'm sitting here saying it's all a toss-up. But I do think the big thing is when I look at different positions, I wanted to see how Chris Henry attacked this spring. And to watch him grow into what happened today, I think is what everybody wanted to see. Because there's the argument of, yes, a lot of guys shine in practice. A lot of guys work hard in practice. But when you're in the shoe, when people are watching, when there's eyes on Big Ten Network, I think that is where you can learn a lot. Chris Henry immediately stepped up. That's exciting on offense. On defense, those transfers have been huge throughout the spring. So I think you're right, Dom. I think there's no world where they aren't one of the preliminary favorites to win the national title for good reason. Sometimes you go into the offseason and you say, well, they're Ohio State. They'll always be a favorite. This one's for good reason.
Well, their offensive line is going to be better than last year, for example.
We didn't even get to see them healthy.
Correct.
Well, let me tell you what. Vegas loves the Buckeyes. I love the Buckeyes because I'll give you three names: Ryan Day, Matt Patricia, Arthur Smith. All three of these guys. I mean, Ryan Day, in my opinion, is the best coach in America, and he will continue to prove it. You watch what's going to happen in the NFL draft with the number of guys he's going to send to the next level, what he's doing. He not only brings the best talent here, they develop it. And I'll tell you what, their whole group, Pantone and down, they know how to look at talent. And it's one thing to look at talent. It's another thing to develop it into NFL prospects, which is what they're doing. And this team is loaded. They got to stay healthy. It is not easy in this world. And they had some injuries, hurt them a year ago down the stretch. But I think if this team can stay healthy, there's no reason why they're not going to compete for the national title. And I'll tell you what, the big offensive lineman, Luke Montgomery, said, we're here to win another national title. I mean, they're embracing it. They know what's at stake. So the fun begins this summer. It's on Coach Mick now to put this team together from a physical, bigger, stronger, faster standpoint. But I'll tell you what, he's going to make them mentally tough. And that is what wins national championships. He is Tim May. Check him out. The Tim May Show, and 97.1 The Fan, and the one and only Adam King. We'll see you later, and keep it on 10 TV, 10 TV Plus, and 97.1 The Fan for the best Buckeye coverage there is.